All right, so hello and welcome to this free training on how to guide others, whether those others are your clients or the people that you'd like to be your clients in the future, to the answers that they seek, to their wise inner nature, as I would call it, or their inner wisdom. So, this training is for meditation and yoga teachers, coaches, therapists, any type of wellness professional, as well as those who feel called to step into this work but aren't doing it quite yet. It's also for those that want to support others in doing deep, meaningful inner work, but who don't want to play guru, who don't want to fix or solve anything for anyone, and who are nature connected humans who know that nature has so much wisdom to offer us, and who maybe just are looking for a modality and a method for helping people to tap into the wisdom of nature as it lives around us and within us. So, this session, my intention here is that you leave with a clear understanding, first and foremost, of what it means to help people listen to their inner wisdom, why it's so important to sink beneath the noise of the conditioned mind and the analytical mind, and also that you'll be able to experience what this work is actually like. You'll be able to experience it for yourself, to get some type of a blueprint and an understanding of how we can facilitate this for others. So I'd like to start by just explaining what I mean by inner nature. So I mentioned that I use the phrase wise inner nature to explain our inner wisdom. And so within wise inner nature, there is that core of our inner nature. So that I see this and through my philosophy and the philosophy of the inner four school, inner nature actually holds a dual meaning. The first is the what, and the second is the where or the how. So the first understanding of inner nature is quite close to its definition if you were to Google it or look in a dictionary. Inner nature is the true essence of a being. So it's the aliveness, the vitality, the soul blueprint, if you will, that really exists before our conditioning, before the noise of the world around us. It's the truest part of who we are. It's not something that we can identify necessarily through words because it's so multifaceted and complex. And our inner nature, yeah, it's got so many different sides to it. The school that I founded, the Inner Forest School, the inner forest is a symbol of our wild and vast and complex psyche and the inner terrain that we each hold within us. And so the inner nature of that is so complex, is so varied. Our essence is not just one thing. But that in our essence is where truth lives, is where intuition resides, where answers just are, and they arise spontaneously and intuitively without analysis, without rationale, without having to think our way to them. The second understanding of inner nature, or the second way that I use that term inner nature, is that it speaks to the vast, infinite, wild inner landscapes that live within each of us, and that we experience as imagined inner landscapes. So that is the where or the how we get to, or we unveil that first form of inner nature, how we unveil the essence or the wisdom or the teachings that live at the core of who we are. So this second understanding of inner nature is that inner nature is a vast, infinite realm that we can tap into when we close our eyes, and we can step into an ancient redwood forest. We can find ourselves next to reflective waters. We can find ourselves in the silence and spaciousness of a desert. We can step into the abundance and vitality of a rainforest, or really step into any number of landscapes and go on any number of journeys and find teachers and wisdom and meaning in the symbols and the imagery that arises. We can also understand these two forms of inner nature, where the second one is and again, the second one being the imaginal realm of our inner nature, that is really the bridge that can lead us to our essence, to that first understanding of inner nature. Um, and we can travel along that bridge to start to sink beneath the noise of our conditioning, beneath the what is the word I'm looking for? The limitations that we hold quite close and often dear due to our conditioning or our trauma, and to really get to what really wants to be revealed, to get to the truth that our heart and our soul is whispering to us. So that's really the crux of what my work is, and that I invite you to consider as well in your work. And I just want to talk a little bit before we get into an experience of it is why this matters, and why this method is so important and so valuable, especially in the world that we find ourselves emerging into with artificial intelligence that is, growing rampant. And the truth of why this matters is really that, wisdom is not something that ChatGPT can offer to us, is not something we can um, unveil with the right prompt to Claude. It's not something we can think our way to. It's something that we have to make space for it to arise from the depths of our heart, our soul, to descend perhaps from our higher self. And the way that we do this is through opening ourselves up to and stepping into these wild inner terrains through guided imagery. But it's so, so important in this time that we're living in, again, with artificial intelligence everywhere, and with more and more people turning to AI to try and seek answers that really live in the domain of wisdom. And machinery cannot hold wisdom. It can offer us things that sound very wise, but it's not actually our wisdom unless we've felt it and we know it, and we've experienced it in the depths of our mind and psyche and heart and soul and bones and spirit. So this work helps people to find a way to reach the answers they seek in a way that's really impactful and transformative, and that doesn't rely on anybody outside of them or a machine outside of them to feed them any type of answers or some semblance of insight. And so this is the kind of work that you can do, what I'm about to lead you through, so you can just experience it. I think that's the best way for you to understand what this is all about. But this is the type of thing that you can lead your clients through in order to help them access their inner wisdom, and for them to tap into the depths of their wild and wise inner nature. And before we do a guided experience of it, there's just a few things I want to talk about before we get there. First and foremost, important for you to understand as a participant of my journey that I'm going to lead you on, and as somebody who might want to lead this type of work for other people. This is not a substitute for therapy. We don't offer this type of inner journey work to heal or cure or yeah, to play the role as therapist or guru or yeah, it can feel therapeutic for many people, but as a disclaimer, we are not offering therapy or therapeutic work. It's also important to know that this isn't suitable for everyone. So if you or if someone that is in your orbit who wants to work with you is experiencing struggles with severe mental health conditions, maybe schizophrenia, or um, experiences psychosis, or has very intense trauma that is best to be dealt with a trained mental health professional. And maybe you are a therapist as well, and maybe you have ways that you can work this into the therapy that you do. So But I say this for those of us that are not therapists. Just a disclaimer so that we can stay within the scope of what we are doing here. At the end of this session, I will talk a little bit about becoming an inner nature writing facilitator. And in that course that we offer, we do dive into the scope of this practice and how to be boundaried in the work that we're doing and to not find ourselves stepping into or being drawn into the role of a therapist. Another important thing to say to you, and if you're leading others through this type of work, is to know that you have full agency throughout this journey work. While my intention and guidance will always be rooted in wisdom and compassion, um, whenever we are doing any type of guided imagery or visualization, we are stepping into or we are awakening or making space for imagery of the subconscious to rise to the surface. And some of that will be very challenging and can feel very emotional and difficult to work with. Um, and sometimes, especially if there's past trauma that is weaving into the work, sometimes that trauma can be triggered and we can feel very destabilized. So I just share this with you as another little disclaimer and to remind you that you have full agency over your journey. So if you or if you're leading others, this is important to let them know that they have full agency that empowers you or them. Should anything arise that feels unsettling or grounding, you can always shift your awareness to something that feels settling. So maybe that's just letting the imagery dissolve for a little bit, sensing into the flow of the breath. Maybe that's sensing into the feeling of the chair or surface beneath you, or just rubbing your hands together, feeling your body again, or opening your eyes if you need to. Otherwise, we're not here to avoid discomfort. So, it's okay if difficult emotions arise, and through this work of guiding this type of practice, we want to make space for that and be able to hold that with wisdom and care. But what we're trying to avoid is dysregulation. We're trying to be able to anchor ourselves back should anything feel dysregulating. And one last thing to note is that this is, yeah, a guided imagery journey that I'm going to lead you on, visualization. And everyone experiences visualization very differently. So for some people, the imagery is very vivid. So when they close their eyes and they're invited to imagine a tree, for some people, the tree, they can see the colors and the textures of the bark and the leaves. For other people, maybe it's just a very clear and crisp outline. Maybe it's a bit of a foggy image, or maybe it's there, but there's not a lot of color, or maybe there's nothing visually appears at all. So I share this just to let you know that there's really no right or wrong way to experience this. I am an avid practitioner and teacher of this work, and yet I often find myself on the side of having very little vivid imagery arising. Sometimes I do have very crisp and clear images come up uh, in dreams or in some of these journeys that I do. But my journeys are never, ever less powerful when I don't see things completely clearly. So we can also imagine that this work for ourselves or of leading other people is as if we're being led along a story, and we can hear a story and not see it and still feel it and still pick up on the wisdom that is there. And yeah, we can still embody the journey that we're being led on. So I share that just to let you know that it's okay however you experience this, and that it's no more or no less than of a journey, whether or not you can see things really clearly. And you can let all of your senses come online. So for some people, they might really hear things or get a sense of smell or how things feel. So really just allow yourself to experience this in any way that feels right for you. And on that note, again, this journey can feel very expansive and freeing and joyful. And it can also feel a bit more sentimental, more emotional, a bit heavier. And again, we're looking to welcome discomfort if it comes, but to avoid dysregulation. So with that said, I will invite you, I'm going to lead you through about a 15-minute practice, 10, 12 to 15 minutes, maybe 18, we'll see. And for this journey, you're welcome to be seated or lying down, whatever feels most comfortable for you. When we're in a seated posture, it can help us to remain awake and alert and aware. And when we're lying down, it feels easier to surrender and to let go in both body and mind. So sometimes we feel ourselves drawn to one or the other. So take your time to get set up for that. You can pause the recording if you need to grab some cushions or blankets, or maybe an eye mask or an eye pillow that can support the visualization process. But go ahead and make yourself really comfortable. And as you settle in, I'm also going to take a moment to stretch out my body. Just really let yourself move in any way you need to. Maybe to wring out tension or find your balance. Hmm. And then go ahead and settle into that relatively still posture, seated or lying down. And maybe take a few clearing breaths to really land in this moment, in this practice. Softening your mind with each exhale, softening your body with each exhale. And take a few moments to really feel the touch points between your body and the surface beneath you. Feel the way the chair or the floor, the bed, the earth, feel the way they are holding you without condition, supported by gravity here in this moment. And gently lengthening your spine, and then letting the rest of your body soften around your spine. Settling into a few natural breath cycles. And then draw your awareness to the crown of your head. And slowly, gently, let your awareness scan your body downwards, just softening any tension or tightness, gently melting any parts of you that might need to soften. So, softening through all of the small muscles in your forehead and around your eyes, unclenching your jaw, letting your shoulders drop, melting all the way down your arms to your hands. softening in your chest and your breath, all the way down your back and in your belly. Letting your belly expand and soften naturally with each cycle. And surrendering down from your hips, through your legs, all the way down to the soles of your feet. As you land back in your feet, again, feel the way the earth and the space beneath you is holding you as you are. Rooting down into qualities of curiosity and patience and compassion as you engage with this deep inner work. And now imagine yourself stepping into your mind's eye or your inner eye as you begin to find your footing on a pathway in nature that feels safe and supportive and personal to you. Notice what the pathway is made of, be it sand or stone or soil or something else. And notice what surrounds the pathway, maybe forest or meadow or beach or some other type of landscape. You can feel your crown stretching for whatever quality of light filters through the sky above you, shoulders dropping, heart widening to the journey before you, a journey of coming home to your wise inner nature. And then begin to imagine, if you haven't already, that you are moving along this pathway, feeling your heart and soul lead the way. Softening expectations, assumptions, analysis, rationale. And soon finding yourself emerging into another place in nature. Maybe it's a continuation, a wider space of the path you just moved along, or maybe it's another place altogether. But stepping into a place in nature that feels sacred and personal and deeply meaningful to you. And as you enter this space, allowing it to come to life through all of your senses. So, noticing the colors and textures of plants, maybe animals, the elements that live here, noting what it smells and sounds like, and what it feels like in your body to be here. And consider that here in this space, there is a teacher that holds wisdom that is deeply resonant with where you find yourself in your life right now. So let your heart and mind, your spirit widen to a teacher that is meant to cross your path at this moment in time. And that teacher might appear as a plant or an animal, an element, quality of light, a human figure. Anything at all that feels deeply resonant with you, so long as they are rooted in wisdom and compassion. In other words, if anything appears that feels unsettling or unsafe, let the imagery dissipate as your heart and mind widen to meet a teacher that is here to genuinely support and guide you. You are here to meet a teacher that holds the wisdom you need at this moment in your life. So allow yourself to open to whom or whatever that teacher might be, noticing what draws your attention the most. And as you find yourself in the presence of a teacher that feels safe and supportive, take a moment just to feel their essence, the qualities they innately embody. What do they exude from their essence, from the personality that lives at the core of their being? And you can directly ask this teacher, what do I need to know or consider at this moment in my life? What do I need to know or consider at this moment in my life? Just let yourself be open to receiving any whispers, any signs or feelings that this teacher has to offer you. What wisdom do I need to know or hear right now? Softening any urge to analyze or overthink this experience, just noticing whatever you notice. And then zoom back out to again, just witness and sense the energy and the essence of this teacher before you. And recognize that this being and all the wisdom they carry live within you. It is not separate from you. It is not handed to you. It is wisdom and energies that you carry within. So take a moment perhaps to thank this teacher for presenting themselves to you, knowing that this is a part of yourself that you can come back to in this place at a later time. And when you're ready, slowly departing this landscape, maybe first just absorbing any remaining wisdom or whispers or energies the landscape as a whole might want to offer you. But then traveling back along the path that brought you here, carrying with you any wisdom or guidance that was offered to you. Feeling where it lives in your body as the imagery slowly dissipates. As you anchor back into your breath, into the feeling of the chair or the bed or the floor beneath you. Maybe taking a few clearing breaths to slowly ground back into this physical reality. And before you open your eyes, maybe taking a few moments to sense into your body and gently reawakening it by stretching or wiggling gently. And then opening your eyes whenever you're ready. Mm. You can take the time you need to emerge from that practice. And I'll invite you to, if you have a journal and a pen with you, if you'd like to just take a few moments to write about your experience, how this landed for you, where you found yourself, what landscape appeared, and the teacher that appeared for you, if a teacher appeared, and to write about any wisdom that was unveiled to you from this inner landscape. And also noting that it's okay if you didn't feel connected to any particular teacher, or if it wasn't so clear, or if it was difficult, anything at all. I do invite you, regardless of your experience, to make space for that, to take a few moments to journal about it. And you can simply pause this video if you'd like to do that, and then press play when you're ready to continue. But if you are back with me, if you've taken some time to journal or not, I'd like to just talk a little bit about what we did in that practice. It might be intuitive for you, but I'd like to just name it. Um, so in this journey, I led you to experience your inner wisdom as manifested in a particular image or symbol that exists in the natural world. But we weren't necessarily calling forth any spirit or entity or being outside of ourselves. Excuse me. I say necessarily because for some people, excuse me, some people might have an experience where they sense or feel deeply that they communicate with or connect with a nature spirit. And I honor that and I make space for that. And a couple of times, certainly one time in my life in a dream, I felt certain that I encountered an animal spirit that was beyond my psyche. So there's space for that. And yet we don't need to believe or have experience with any of that in order to sense deep meaning in what this journey is all about. And really what it's about is awakening the wisdom that already lives within you. So that's essentially what we did. Um, and the beautiful thing about this work is that every single person who watches this training will take a completely different journey. Will go to a place that is uniquely theirs, will encounter a teacher that is uniquely theirs, and will receive messages that are uniquely theirs. Yes, of course, there are universal themes and archetypes that will be revealed. So it's if we encountered a wolf or a sunset or the wisdom of water, whatever it might be, we're not the only person who has encountered that. So there's universe, yeah, whatever that word is, in these experiences. And yet, when we zoom out and we look at the fullness of the experience and the nuance and the wisdom, uh, and the way that the journey unfolds, it is completely unique and personal to who we are. Um, and it's so authentic to what we need, and it's so timely for what we need. We can do this exact same journey tomorrow or in a few hours or in a year, and we're going to be it's going to be different. I was going to say completely different, but sometimes we go to the same place, we encounter the same teacher, but there's a little bit of a different message that comes through. It doesn't have to be completely new or novel every time we take journeys like this, but it will always be one of a kind, even if it's similar to a journey that we've done before. But that is why this is such powerful work, is because we can lead people on a journey. We can lead a group on a journey. We can lead the same journey infinite times, and each individual is going to experience what they need to experience. It's really important when we're doing this work again that we're always reminding people that they have agency, and that any teacher or symbol or imagery that appears should be rooted in compassion and wisdom, um, because we're not in a space to dive into shadow work with people. Again, maybe you're trained in that and you can weave this work into that in safe and responsible ways. But we really want to resource people to be able to encounter and engage with imagery that is really supportive for them, and that doesn't dysregulate anybody, or lead them to experience something that they don't have the tools to navigate. So I hope that was insightful and meaningful for you individually, and maybe that you can also see now how you can actually use practices like this to guide people back to their own wise inner nature. So this kind of work can be led in workshops, in retreats, in classes, whether online or in person. It's really such a beautiful practice that whenever I've led these type of journeys in the inner nature writing work that I do, which is inner nature writing is a seven-phased method of leading people to not just experience their wise inner nature, but to express it through writing and to share it with other people and to witness other people share theirs and to start to integrate the wisdom that comes through. But it's such transformative work. And every time I lead these journeys, people are always saying how insightful the imagery is for them and how clarifying things are. And even when people say that, things came up that they weren't really sure about, they didn't really understand, often clarity comes in days that follow, or they take another journey back to the same place or back to the same teacher to communicate with that teacher to kind of tease out what needs to be teased out. But it's again really powerful work that can help people to see and to hear the wisdom that lives beneath the surface noise of their mind and their conditioning and their rational thinking patterns. So this is a taste of a body of deep work that you can do for your clients, that you can, I shouldn't say do for your clients, everyone's doing it for themselves, but that you can facilitate for your clients. Again, this is a core piece of what we do in inner nature writing, to help people experience whatever is true and authentic and timely for them. And then, of course, we lead people into expressing that through writing, through both journaling prompts and through creative writing prompts. So it's really a method that can be supported for people who are writers and who like to write creatively, and just for people that just want to start expressing themselves more through journaling, just through putting their thoughts and experiences onto paper. So if that is something that you want to support people in moving through, that you want to weave into your offerings, or maybe you don't have offerings yet, but you'd like to start doing this type of work, then I do encourage you to check out our Inner Nature Writing Facilitation course. It's an online program, so you can join in from wherever you are in the world. That incorporates both on-demand learning through an on-demand course that you can move through at your own pace, and live classes where I will guide you through many different experiences of this, so you can see the different shapes and forms that this work can take. So it's not that we're only leading this one journey that we did today. Through this work, through inner nature writing, you can lead journeys specific to a particular theme. So maybe that's to confidence and courage, or to self-trust and compassion, to vision and clarity. You can also lead sessions related to specific seasons or elements or plants or animals. There's such an infinite wellspring of sessions and teachings that can be born out of inner nature writing. And so if that's something that you want to dive into, again, I encourage you to check out the training course. I would love to get to know you, and to support you. You can find the information, you can navigate to it on our website, theinnerforce.com. And it's also, I think I've linked to it in the email that was sent to you with this video. So you can find it there. If you have any questions emerging out of this work, if you want to share anything that came up for you in your journey, you can email me at any time. Again, you can just reply to the email where you receive this recording, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you so much for your interest in this type of work, for wanting to support people in coming back to their inner wisdom. I really think it's invaluable in this time, in this modern world that we live in, and in the future that we find ourselves emerging into. So thank you again. Reach out if you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to share, and perhaps we'll connect in one way or another again in the future. So have a lovely day, and we'll be in touch hopefully soon. Bye for now.